Hi there, Cheryl from Garden in the Borough here, and I thought I'd uh, maybe take you on a few little garden chores I had to accomplish today. I'm standing right now in back of, and I wish there was smell-o-vision, these beautiful peony that just started blooming. I'm not sure, these are ones that came, one from my mother's yard, and this one might be silver thread on a red dragon or a red robe or something like that. I don't know, I have to look up its name. It has little silver edges running through the the pink. It's beautiful. So anyway, today I'm going to be working outside, and we went over the summer. And I wish I had taken better video, but we went to Tony Avent's garden down south, down in North Carolina. His Plant Delights Nursery, and toward the little Juniper Level Botanic Garden that's attached to it. That's his property. And while we were there, we talked to a couple of the horticulturists and walked around. It was a wonderful adventure. I highly recommend. And they all had flags on the back of their carts. And they had granted a bunch of colors. They had um, maybe 4 or 5 different colors that all meant something different. Like, this area needs to be weeded. This plant needs some attention, whether it was staking or dividing or whatever. They all had like a color code on them. But I thought, what a genius idea that was. So I decided that here, because it's only just me, and often when I see something that needs to be done, but I'm doing something else, I forget and I never return until it's either too late to do the whatever the chore was, or something really bad happened to the plant. So I started using these a couple weeks ago. They're just little flags that you can use them for a bunch of things, but we usually use them to mark our irrigation system if we're having work done. And they just come in a big pack. They weren't expensive. We got them at Lowe's. And I've been leaving them outside, just stuck in the garden in a big clump, so that I can grab them when I need them. And I'll show you a couple that I have out right now. Actually accomplished one of the chores yesterday. I had a rose that I had flagged that I forgot to prune, that I got done. So anyway, I'm going to walk around and show you a couple things, maybe take you on a few of my garden chores today. But but I thought I'd share that little trick in case it's something that you wanted to use in your garden. So I'm going to come back to this later, but this is one of the top of my list today in this garden, is getting this area under control. This is where I don't have a greenhouse. And I used to have a big potting bench here, but now I just have this baker's rack, but it's still where I do all my potting and seed starting and anything that needs to have a close eye kept on it for watering, or if it was just repotted up or something, always ends up over here because it's close to the hose and close to the house. So I need to get in here. Some of the seedlings in here need to be pricked out. Some need to be potted on. Um, I just gotta really, make it look tidier, because boy, it's a mess in here. But anyway, I'm gonna get to that today. But while we're over here, we'll look at this rose. This rose in here that's climbing, it actually, this whole area, you can get around here, had to be cut down. We've installed a new kitchen window. Oh, see that scrunched up finch feeder? We have a bear. He did that. Anyway, this rose that just started opening. Oh, I'm going to try and get in closer. Sorry to make you nauseous there. Was a gift from my mother, and she just stopped on the side of the road, and some guy had it in like a 5-gallon container, and she bought it. So I don't know what it is, but it gets to be about maybe 7, 8 feet tall. It does get sawfly, but it's a rebloomer. It goes all, once it blooms, I'll cut it back and you can see all the buds on it. And then it will bloom again, and it will do it all throughout the whole summer. So anyway, this area, chore number one. Next up on the list today, I'm gonna prune this magnolia. This is Magnolia virginiana Moonglow, or Jim Wilson. And I actually planted 2 of these. Let me see if I can get in on a flower. This is a native Sweet Bay magnolia, and it's a little windy, so I hope it's not too much on the mic. But anyway, I planted 2 of these, and one didn't even make the first winter. And what I've noticed about trees here a lot is that it takes them a few years to really settle in, and they go through some pretty dramatic settling in period, where often they like this one has lost this whole entire branch, and that's what has to be pruned off, and then some other dead wood here and there. But you can see all the buds on this thing. It's got these beautiful, see if the camera will capture it, silvery undersides to the leaf. This is, again, a native plant. Um, and it's totally covered in flower buds, and it's going to be beautiful once it really gets itself settled in. But right now it needs me to come in and deal with all of this dead wood to kind of tidy it up. So I'm going to be managing that today too. Also, while I'm over here in this bed, a lot of the bearded iris have gone by, so all of those stalks need to be trimmed down. And I have to get in here also because I thought I had taken out all the daylily that was in here, and apparently I missed some, so I have to take some more of that out and do just a little bit of pruning here and there in this garden. This more bearded iris that needs cutting back. So just sort of a tidying day, I guess, is what it's going to turn out to be out here. So we're walking out toward the back now, and we're right behind my fence. And this is another project that I've been working on for the past couple days, and I'm going to do some work on today. And that is taking photographs of all where my peony plants are blooming as they come into bloom. And these are my herbaceous ones I'm talking about. So this is one called Coral Charm, and it's blooming right behind my fence. And it's right next to another one right there, and another right there that is blooming. This one is not. So what I'm hoping to accomplish over the next week or two when they're all blooming is taking photographs of where they are actually in the garden, because I move so many things because the sunlight changes or the gardens change or I transplant and divide, whatever happens, and then I don't have the labels and I don't know where they are. So I have, and I'm just going to show you briefly this little packet of, this is a copy of the catalog from Peonies Envy, and I've highlighted any of the ones that I've purchased, and I also have a master list that's starting here. Oops, windy. You can see they're all written down, so I know what ones I've bought and what ones I have. I just don't necessarily know where they've all ended up in the garden. So when I want to divide them and move them, I have to either wait till they're blooming or, but anyway, this project is going to be taking pictures of them while they're in bloom in situ, so I know where they are in the garden, and they're going in a folder on my phone called Panty Placement, so that I could go back and when I move them, and you'll see last year I did a lot of dividing and moving. There's quite a number of them in this bed, and I'll be able to know, and I'll label them, and I'll be able to know where they are. So if I want a particular color or more of one, I'll know which one they are. So we'll walk down and I'll show you how many, well, I'm not going to show you all of them, but I'll show you how many are in the gardens that need proper labeling, and that chore, part indoor, part outdoor, taking the photos. It doesn't involve any real gardening, just taking the photos and making labels and recording where they are, so I'll be able to move them accurately. All right, we'll come down and see where some more of them are. So there's some here, here. Oh, look at the Amsonia. It looks so pretty right there up against the Chamaecyparis. Beautiful. This one's already bloomed over here. I know this one is a rock garden variety. It's smaller. It's got bigger leaves, and it's smaller general plant. It's already finished blooming. There's some over here that haven't bloomed yet. Oops, my shadow. In here, there's only a couple left near the edges because this bed has gotten pretty shady. I'm not sure if they're going to bloom. I don't see any buds on them this year, so they might need to wait till next year to have their picture taken. Isn't that why GLL looks fantastic? All right, if we go over across the front, you'll see, across my driveway now, you can see in here, before we continue talking about Peony, my little flags. So this is the rose that I pruned yesterday, so I'm going to pull its flag. That hydrangea in there has a flag because it needs a few more stems. I was waiting to see if they were going to leaf out. So it's got a couple more that need pruning off. So that's why that's flagged. And this is flagged because this poor sedum has been in this container for eons and it just does so well. And it hasn't had its potting soil changed. I can't even remember when. So it's time for me to take that out, maybe divide a chunk off of it and give it some fresh potting soil, maybe a little fertilizer. Poor baby. So let's come down and look at more peony. So there's more in here that are just opening. So these, when I came down this bed, look at Trandescantia, sweet Kate. Oh my goodness, what a pretty plant that is. It's the only Trandescantia here that the rabbits will eat, which is a shame because it's so pretty. Anyway, along the lilac hedge, there's peony, and then this one, the variety called, I think, hot chocolate. It's so pretty. This bloom is kind of past, but oh my goodness. The rich color of this is just amazing. I got this from Cricket Gardens. So you can see having this sort of like, going back into that folder and being able to see that I have them all, a picture of where they are, and I'll be able to recognize where they are. So when I do divide some and move them, I know when they're not blooming which plant it is. I have a lot of plants in this garden. Here's another chore we did that's been very, very satisfying. We've been mulching our leaves to make our own mulch. And it's such a pretty mulch. Plants love it too. But we just started doing that in the past couple of years. It's pretty time consuming, but worth it in the end. This is another garden that's got quite a few peony in it. Some are just in bud, some haven't. And we'll go around the side and I'll show you again why this project is going to be so worth my time. There's so many in here. There's one there, more in there, in front of this beautiful dogwood. And these are all going to have to be moved because they are getting very shaded in here. So to know which variety they are is going to be helpful. So I'm going to pan around and you'll see there's more here. This is a beautiful geranium called Geranium Cilistemen. Look at those dark black centers on that plant. This thing blooms and reblooms all summer. Look at all the buds on it. It stands probably about 3 or 4 feet tall. It's a great plant to use in between roses, which is exactly where this is. So there's a rose, a landscape rose right there. The amazing Rugosa, Rosaria de la Haye, which is so fragrant right now. It's just perfuming this whole garden. And this 2 David Austin roses over in here. think this one is Sharif Asma, but look at all the buds on that. This thing is about to explode into bloom. And this one, I can't remember the name of, Belinda maybe? Anyway, geranium and roses aside, there's a lot of peony in here, but I'm going to show you this too. I noticed in case you have this go on your garden too, and you can see on the top of this peony, um, the bud, they call it bud blast. It's called bud blast, and the bud forms and then blackens. So it can be cold damage. It can be due to the fact that the bud formed and then it got frost or late freeze. But that's not why it happened to this one, because if it did, it would be on all of them around here, and it's just on this one plant. So this is a stressor, a stress reaction. So this peony most likely is planted too deep. The eye of peony tubers, roots, has to be within like 2 inches of the top of the soil line. So if you've buried them too deep and that eye is buried, they're going to struggle to bloom. And so I'm going to come back in with this one. I might move it entirely, but either way, I'll lift it. I'll just put my shovel under it, lift it up, and put dirt underneath it so the plant is a little bit higher in the ground, and give it some fertilizer, and then maybe next year it will bloom. And then I'll be able to take its picture and know what it is. But anyway, that's what that is. So knowing all the ones that are in here is going to be extremely helpful, because again, when I'm dividing them and moving them, to be able to know which variety I have is going to be a huge help. And one more over here. Oh my goodness, this peony is so fragrant. I'm not sure, it might be Sarah Bernhardt. I have to look. But again, once these labels are in, I'll be so much happier to be able to just come out here and know right off the top of my head. It's funny, you thought when I first started gardening that I would never ever forget, because I love all these plants so much. But when you buy them, you're all excited and you think you'll never, but you do, because there's just so many of them. This garden is huge. So anyway, that's on my chore list today, is to keep taking pictures and get some labels ready and get all these peony labeled. So before I go off to do the rest of my garden chores, I want to share with you this shrub that's blooming right now. That's a Philadelphus mock orange. This one's called Snowbell. And this shrub has been in my garden since 2009. And it is about 2 feet tall now, although it should grow to be about 3 or 4. And why this is such a garden victory for me is I'm going to walk down a little bit over here, and you can see we have a Bradford pear down near the end of the road over here. And you can see where those Patriot hosta are. And that's a Bradford pear trunk right there. And this Philadelphus used to be right next to where those hosta are. And 2011, this pear was planted by our developer, and we just left it there. I wish we had taken it down, but anyway, it got damaged from the ice storm, and a huge branch of it came down right on top of this mock orange that's over here, planted over here now, and it leveled it. There was nothing left of it, and I dug up its root system, and I'll tell you, we'll come back over to where it is. On the way, we can stop to look at some pretty things like clematis and this beautiful baptisia and clematis moment over here. That's Dr. Ruppel, and that baptisia is actually a seedling that just came up here with those light flowers. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Anyway, back to the mock orange. I moved it several times over the years. I don't know why I didn't want to give up on it, but I didn't. So I moved it several, I can't, this might be its third or fourth location. And last year I dug it up again. I gave it a generous amount of compost. And then I started giving it some fertilizer meant for like tomatoes and roses. Like it has a high It's meant for blooming plants to get it really jolted into wanting to bloom. And guess what? It worked. So I'm going to call that a garden victory. Where's that little oh, see, it's planted right next to this little white salvia. I have another white salvia division I'm going to move in here now that I know they're going to bloom at the same time. But anyway, look at all the flowers on this year. I'm so excited to have brought this plant back from the brink, even though it took me 15 years. I'll still call that a garden win. And now I'm going to head out to do all the little chores that are on my list. Happy gardening, everyone.